Okay, so I'm going to bring up a speaker onto stage for the next segment of this evening. And she was our top silver executive in 2017. She was on the Achievers Club in 2018, so she attended the Fiji incentive trip. She's always involved. She's always attending functions and meetings. And I think she's also the self-proclaimed chief of the positive police. So she doesn't take lightly to negativity. So guys, help me welcome up on stage Gold Executive Director, Kirsty Sapple.
Where's our chairs? I don't need this.
So they were going to give us chairs
Yeah,
and coffee and beer, but they said we're in Australia, so we have to stand. So I'm going to, if you don't mind, we're going to do this as a little bit of an interview, answer question type thing, because they realised both of us love speaking a hell of a lot, so they would never get us off stage. So the first question I'm going to ask Kirsty is, when and why did you say yes to Mannatech?
I was introduced to Mannatech, I think, in 2009 by my sister-in-law, but at the time I was not interested at all. I didn't see the value in the product. I didn't want to know about it. I was a definite no. But then I think in about, actually it might have been before 2009, because in 2009 I actually did go on a cruise and got extremely sick, and the doctors told me that I had an immune problem. And I remembered in one of the talks that I had given to me that Mannatech was very good for your immune system. So I started taking the products, got better, stopped taking them, and then and at the time I was actually a business owner. I owned a business that was 7 days a week, 12, 14 hours a day. So I loved it. It was my life, but it really owned me and I didn't own it. So I think at 2012, 2013, I decided to sell it. And I have been self-employed my whole life. I'm an ex-hairdresser, ex-childcare worker, and I really didn't want to go and work for someone else. So I had to find something to fill my time. I knew that from going from working the hours that I was working to being stuck at home in my four walls, that I was going to go crazy. So I saw Karen doing a market one day and thought, maybe I can do this. And I ummed and ahed and decided. And it's funny that Kevin says you've got to decide. I think with me, it was my decision. It was something that I was never tricked into or coaxed or didn't go to a plan. I was looking for something, so my mind was open, and I needed to do it. And I've been at it, 5 years, I think, and I'm still here.
Awesome. So you fell in love with the company, fell in love with the products. What made you? So you're a business owner, and you made that decision to focus on network marketing. And what did you actually do to change that mindset from a business owner towards network marketing?
I'm still changing it. Look, when I first decided to do this, I got a rude shock when you start talking to people and you start getting the rejection. My instant reaction was, there has to be an easier way, and I thought I was going to change the wheel and make it easier. So I did. I sat behind my computer for the first 12 months of my business. I tried to learn all the science. I tried to learn all the right things to say. I decided I even wanted to do it online so that I could hide behind that computer screen and not feel the rejection that you actually get when you are presenting people with it. But it was my first manifest over in America where, in 2014, I think, where I saw Darren Hardy and a whole heap of speakers, and there was so much emphasis on self-development. And basically, I've been brainwashing myself for the last 5 years, and that's where I am now. Brainwashed.
So you think you're brainwashed?
Yeah.
Say it again.
I'm brainwashed.
Say it again.
Yeah.
And what did you say you were? Brainwashed. So once you've made the decision and you found some confidence and believe in yourself, what steps did you take to move so successfully through the ranks, so that you with 2017 you were the Silver Executive of the Year? What steps did you take to grow yourself and grow your business?
I always say I fumbled my way here. Look, I go to networking groups, I do markets, I'm always talking to people. Being an ex-hairdresser, I'm very, very interested in people. I ask lots of questions, so much so that I am accused of interrogating them sometimes. And through that and through constantly being out there, my business has slowly grown. And it's been, obviously, I've always presented with product. I've got customers, and then those customers are slowly, through my relationship with them, have decided to become business builders themselves. So that has it's just been a slow progress. I haven't been a greyhound out the box. I'm doing it slowly.
Great. So the secret is what? Talking to people and talking to people.
Relationship. And not so much talking to people, listening to people. I mean, you're out there in front of people and with people, but it's not talking to them, it's listening to them.
There you go. One other question. So now you're a successful business builder. How do you communicate differently to your business builders as what you do to your customers? What is the differentiation between the conversations you have with either of them?
I can be bossier now, can't I? Look, I suppose, well, for a start, I've got to lead from example, and I can't expect them to do anything that I won't do. I haven't got a system as such. As I said, it's my relationship with them. Obviously, my communication with them is, a lot more than just a customer. We do have Zoom meetings every Monday night, and that could be based on personal development or whatever. If they need me to do a presentation with them, I will. Three-way calls, I will. It's, they love me, I think. And I boss them around. And I am very, very big on personal development. So I really try and really encourage them to work on themselves, and as they grow, then their businesses will grow. So that's my main focus.
Fantastic. Now let me put you on the spot. What's your next goal in this business? Because you're now a gold executive. So I want to put you on the spot right now with what is your next goal?
I said that I was going to say this. Okay, I personally have really embraced Richard Brooks's trainings. I have watched all of those trainings that are on the American site. I did buy his book, and he signed it for me when I was in America. I've listened to his book on audio I don't know how many times, so he's brainwashing me. And I've really embraced his teachings, and that is building credibility around this industry. And I personally believe what I've done in the last 5 years is I've really been trying to sell the product, and people feel sold too. So my plan is to educate and build credibility around this industry. Manatech is the vehicle that I'm using for that, and that's going to take me to presidential by August.
Presidential by August. Okay, guys. Christy, thank you very much for sharing with us, and I will hold you accountable to that presidential by August. And thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you.
Let's give her a big hand. All right, guys, let's go back to your workbook. You're all open in your workbook, and let's go right to the back. Did you all pass that earlier test, by the way? Did any of you fail? Okay, well, we'll check later. Okay, so I want to go back to the next segment of this evening. And I'm going to be calling up 2 associate leaders in a while to help go through this. Fortunate for you, I'll be sitting down, so I won't be boring you anymore. The next topic I want to bring up is the 4 basics, okay, which is right on the back. And you'll see that we've taken the liberty, because what we're trying to do in Manatech Australia is simplify everything and make it really, really simple. So we've taken old names and we're trying to make them new and current. So we've taken the liberty of making the list a new name and contact inviting is the same. I just want you guys to understand that these 4 basics are not negotiable. You know, I've been around long enough to understand that these 4 basics are the building blocks. Wrong one, right one, wrong one. Are the building blocks of everything that we do in this business. And we need to master these 4 basics in order to be successful. But in saying that, it doesn't mean just because, you know, one looks at these 4 basics and assumes that they are cast in stone. They need to be done, but there's no single way that's the correct way of doing these 4 basics. Okay, so there's multiple ways of building this business. And just because the left hand's doing it the one way and the right hand's doing it the other, it doesn't make either of them wrong, because both of them are right. As long as you're following this wheel of fortune, as it was called before, the wheel of fortune, and building your business based on these 4 premises, you cannot go wrong. Because every single big business I've seen in this industry, in my short time in this industry, has based the business on these building blocks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up 2 Australian leaders, both of them very, very successful Australian leaders, but you will hear in their presentation how each one of them does it slightly different. And both of them, as I said, are successful. So neither is right, neither is wrong. So this segment is just to show you that there is freedom of expression in how you build your business. As long as the basics are there and building the basics, you cannot fail. So, if you will, please help me welcome up on stage Bronze Presidential Karen Dennis and Presidential Director Naomi Evelson, who are going to handle this section.
Thank you so much. You can hear me? Great. I'm so excited to share with you tonight on the 4 basics. I'm so privileged to share the stage with this amazing woman who has always been an inspiration for me, and somebody from the very first time I signed up and I saw her testimony, and I really looked up to Karen. So it's such an honour to share the stage with you, Karen.
Thank you.
So tonight we're going to give you some great basics around building your business. And, you know, just some strategies that both Karen and I use, and we are quite different, so you'll get a little bit of a different point of view, and you'll see how you don't have to be a certain person, you don't have to be a certain personality or certain skills to build this business. You can be yourself, and that's what this is all about. Because, you know, for me, I didn't have the gift of the gab like James. I wasn't confident and out there like maybe Al. I didn't know the comp plan very well like Kevin. I wasn't a product expert like Karen. But one thing that I really had was a strong connection to my dreams. And you can have the best strategies in the world, but if you're not connected strongly to your dreams, then they won't mean anything. Because really, how-tos, I mean, the internet's full of them, and you've probably heard every how-to out there. You might hear some new little strategies tonight, but without that dream, without that strong connection to your dream, it doesn't mean anything. And, I spend a lot of time dreaming. And probably, I'd say at least 10 minutes I start my day with dreaming, because then I connect that dream into the actions that I take through for that day. I connect that dream quickly before I call somebody, because that's what I need to do. I need to connect my dream constantly to every action that I take. And so that's been a really important thing for me. Marsha Norman, she has a quote that she says that dreams are the illustrations that your soul is writing about you. And that's so beautiful. Our soul, it wants to evolve. Our heart wants to evolve past our stories. So when we can connect to that, when we can connect to our soul's purpose, to what our heart is calling us to do, because so many times we push down what our heart is saying and we settle for less when our heart is crying out for more. And I wanted to tell you a little story about my son who's 13. His name is Noah. And he's got this dream of becoming a professional skater. I don't know if he'll get there, but, it's so amazing to watch his journey on this dream. This is actually him. He was winning, he won a championship in skating, and for about 2 years. So he became interested in skating, but then he became quite passionate about skating. And I watched this journey in him, and it was amazing to watch. He started to really, I guess you'd say, maybe the word is become obsessed. Now you might think, gosh, that's not a very good word. You think of people being obsessed and you think, well, that's not a very good thing. But obsessed is just about thinking about something a lot. And Brendan Burchard said in his book, High Performance Habits, that you look at the high performers and they are obsessed about what they're doing. And then Eric Worre, he's done this podcast series on the millionaire. Who would like to earn $1 million a year in network marketing? Come on. Even if it's for what you can do with that. He said, what I've found in every interview is that the word that you could use is they're obsessed. Now, I highly recommend listening to those podcasts, because it's just amazing to hear those stories. And Noah seems to be obsessed. So, he's investing all his spare money, all his Christmas money, all his birthday money. We got a half pipe built for him so he can practice at home on our property. He spends so much money on his skateboards, on the shoes, on the equipment. His time, he's always out there practicing, getting those tricks. He falls down so much, he hurts himself all the time. He gets back up and he goes again. He's obsessed with getting that trick right. He's put so much energy into this learning and honing and practicing this skill. And then even when he's inside, when it's dark at night, he's on his little iPad. He's watching video after video on how to do the next trick. So he's investing so much into that. And he's also had some pretty big falls. So last Christmas, he got the half pipe. I think it was about February, he had his first broken bone. And, it wasn't a big deal. It was just a normal broken bone. And he said to me, though, Mum, but yeah, I landed the trick. He was so excited. That's what he focused on. He focused on that he landed the trick. Did he focus on that he fell in front of all his friends that were there? He focused on what he was able to achieve in that moment. And, it's fun to watch this. And then I have to say, though, the next one wasn't so fun to watch. And this was early December. And it was after school one day. He came home and he was out skating like normal every afternoon. And I heard this screaming coming from down at the half pipe, and my other son was outside, and so he ran down, and I was just cooking dinner, ran down after him. And my son, the oldest son, Zach, called out and said, "Mum, quick, he's broken his arm, hurry." So I ran back in the house trying to find something to splint his arm, you know, the normal, because I'm used to it now, 2 boys. And so I ran back to try and find something, grabbed my phone. On the way back, though, I saw him and he was in excruciating pain, like screaming. And by that point, he'd actually he's put himself on the ground. He was pale as a ghost. And he'd put his arm up in the air, and my other son was having to hold his arm up to keep the bones separated because it was a total break. So I knew I had to call the ambulance, and the pain, like he doesn't feel pain, but he was screaming in pain. And I called the ambulance, and the ambulance came, and it was not a nice experience waiting half an hour for the ambulance to come while we were holding his arm up. And he was screaming through that. Thank God for the green whistle, though. Has anyone ever had the green whistle? I felt like I needed the green whistle because it was a very emotional time while I was watching my son in so much pain. But, you know, he had the green whistle. He's puffing away, and then they gave him something else that helped even more. And as he's going in, so you can kind of see the first photo is actually, as he's going in, he's got a bit of a smile on his face. And I said, "Where are you going, Noah?" And he says, "I'm going to outer space." Oh, gosh. But you can see there the broken arm, and it was quite horrific. But as we were getting wheeled in to get the x-rays, the guy that was wheeling him in he said, I was really into skating when I was younger. We did it every weekend. And he said, "Mate, this kind of break is a real badge of honour. Well done." I'm like, oh my gosh, that's all I need for this kid. So, you know, it was really interesting. And then I was thinking about that, you know, through this he's actually learning some really great skills and life things that he can take into many aspects. And I thought about it in terms of network marketing. One of the other things that he did through this process was he had a group of friends. Well, they weren't very interested in skating, so he had to find a whole new set of friends. Who's got some friends that's not very interested in network marketing? Yeah. And, you know, sometimes you have to find a new set of friends, and we've got some great friends here and some people that are going to encourage you in the process. He also had to find a mentor, and I said to him, "Well, what does he do? What does Ali Bob," that's his name, "what does Ali Bob do?" And he says, "He always pushes me and he encourages me, and when I get a trick, he cheers me on." And that's so wonderful what we have with mentors in our business too. But think also about investing your money back into your business. I know sometimes we get that money and we've got some great ways to make money, but we increase our spending at the same time. What can you do if you invest it back into your business, invest it into your personal development? This amazing lady has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in her personal development, and that's why she's here where she is. Investing your time. You don't need to watch the latest Netflix show, whatever's on, I don't even know. But invest it back into learning, into growing. Christy said it so well. She's been investing into herself, into personal development, and investing your energy. Brendan Burchard said on a recent podcast with Eric Worre, he said this, and I was thinking about this, and it just kind of struck me. He said, "Honour the struggle." How many times do we resist the struggle? We think, "Oh, why can't this just go like I want it to? Why can't everything just be perfect? Why can't that person sign? Why do they quit after 5 days?" You know, the struggles that we have rather than resisting them, why don't we honour it and see it as a time where we're growing, where we're learning, where we're becoming more? Man, I've had some struggles in this business, but I tell you what, every time through it, I've grown. And that, just like that badge of honour, that broken bone was the badge of honour for Noah, the honour is in the struggle, because we can be more, we can grow, we can become more, and that's so powerful. And write these 3 words down. They're such powerful words. Force. So force is where you push forward, sometimes against resistance. Do you ever feel resistance when you're building your business? So we're pushing forward. It's the strength, it's the power, it's the energy. Such a powerful word. And then we've got focus. Are you focusing on all the challenges, all the problems, all the things that are going wrong, or are you focusing on your dreams, on your desires, on what you can see for your life, on the vision that you have for your future and your children's future? And then frequency. I highly recommend the habits of
Highly successful people.
yes. The High Performers Habits book. And it talks about developing those habits that you do frequently. And that's what this is all about. It's the force, it's the focus, it's the frequency to building your business. So let's have a look at number 1. Now, there's lots of different ways to find and connect, and Karen's going to share some of hers as well. But, you know, I do both online and offline ways to find people. And, you know, there's basically you've got your online methods, social media being a big one, and then you've got your offline. So you've got those incidental things that you do throughout the day, the people that you meet by accident, you know, you just run into them. And then you have where you go out on purpose to meet people. And so you've got a few ways there. Now, I do all sorts of things in this field, but one of the things that I do use is social media. And, you know, with social media, the best place to start is just start connecting with people that you've known through the years. And you'll be surprised how many people you actually know. And, you know, if you go back through and you think about, like, for example, Poppy Curry, who was the top enroller for last year, she was actually, her children went to the preschool where I was the director at, and our daughters were in the same year, and I decided I'll connect with her on Facebook. I wouldn't have ever seen her again, probably, because she was living in Sydney, I was in Coffs, but it was through that connection that we started the conversation again. You know, Sandra's another great thing. We met at a charity event and I saw her on Facebook, so we connected. So you can use that online and offline and bringing them back and forth. And it's such a great way. You know a lot of people, so just start connecting. And it's not connecting to sell them a product, please. It's not connecting to send them a spiel on Messenger, trying to get them to buy glyconutrients. You're just connecting. It's about forming relationships. And, you know, that's the best place to start. Just say, hi, how are you going? How are your kids going? And leave it at that. You don't need to talk about Manatech or glyconutrients or anything like that. Just leave it at building relationship and connecting. And, you know, that's the perfect place to start. And the second thing, you know, when you're meeting people, this is really, really technical. So turn to the person next to you. You're going to do something. Smile. Go on. You know you want to smile. I know it's hard sometimes, isn't it? It's hard. It's hard to smile. Then turn to that person and maybe make a compliment. Say a compliment about that person next to you. Come on. You look beautiful tonight, Karen.
So do you, Naomi.
You guys, it's as simple as that, and Christy said it before, ask questions, be interested in people. Gayleen was telling me some things that she's been doing over the last few days. James doesn't really understand her girl talk. He gets a bit confused, but I fully understand where she's going on her whole journey. And this is what I had to write it down because it was pretty full on. So the lady taking her blood, she got her details connected on Facebook. The two ladies that were at the nail salon, she's connected with them, got their details. The car detailer, the Michael Hill ladies, there's 3 of them, the cab driver. This is just in the last couple of days. So people are everywhere, and Graham and Christine are the same. They've just been here in Adelaide I think you've got everybody's details as you go around. So they're just the incidental things. When you're interested in people, when you're asking questions, just start connecting. And for me, when I'm offline and I'm talking to people, I might say, hey, I've really enjoyed getting to know you. How about I'd love to keep that connection. How about we connect on Facebook? So I give the phone and we find them and we connect on Facebook so that I can continue that conversation or, continue our connection past that point. So just a few little examples of what you can do to start that connection. And here you can see the thing that there's also the things that you do on purpose. So thinking about training events, this was actually a picture of me with Jodie, who's also from Coffs Harbour in our team. We went to a branding thing, and I knew that the ladies at that event would be, ladies that I would like to connect with. So I go to those events, church groups, gyms, you can go to the gym and start connecting with people and just forming relationships. There's people everywhere you go, so you'll never run out of people. So over to you, Karen.
Oh, thank you. Hello, everyone. Thanks, Naomi. That was fantastic, yes. And we do things very differently. I guess for me, how I meet people has changed over the years. In the early days, I was nursing and I was introduced to the products, incredibly excited about the products. And fortunately, I had meetings to go to in Brisbane. And I just took people, everyone I knew I invited to the meetings. I spoke to the people I looked after that I was nursing. I just really rabbited on and raved on and gave people masses of information which didn't usually work, and I just burbled. So what Naomi's talked about tonight with Noah, I think is a huge thing that we need to remember. We're in business and we do need to skill up. Noah's practiced and practiced and practiced and learnt and learnt and learnt, and it's such a good message. So that was one of the early things I did. I took people to meetings and they enrolled, but I also badgered my upline to learn how to do things. Back in those days, they had all-star packs for $1,375, and my presidential bragged that he always enrolled people on that pack size, and I couldn't. So I badgered him till I found out how to do that, and then I was able to do that. So that's sort of been my path from the beginning, to learn a lot. And because of that, I just have such a passion for the products and for the business. I love the business, and I think they're just completely connected. So for me now, my warm market ran out a long time ago. I've been in Manatech 16 years. So I ran out of family, and a point on that, I had family who wouldn't listen to me, and I learnt back then that I had to get them in front of someone else to listen. And that was a key part in my skilling going forward, that people wouldn't always listen to me, but they may listen to someone else who they didn't even know. And maybe some of you have found that. They won't listen to you, but they'll listen to someone else they don't know. So for me now, I just make my contacts by joining new things. I live in a tiny country town. So I go to Tai Chi, I go to line dancing, I go to rock and roll festivals when they come to town. I just do anything and everything to meet people. But over the years, I'm just so passionate about the products that it's weird. People just seem to start coming and talking to me and just happen to tell me that this is happening with their health, or it's like I'm a magnet. And it sounds like maybe a not teachable thing to do, but I attract people to me. They're often surprised at my age, that and all sorts of things like that, and why I'm so well and able to do the things that I do, etc. So I really believe in the law of attraction and people just turning up, that I'm there to guide them and help them, whether it be business, whether it be products. So that's my contacting and inviting. People ask me what I do. My usual standard answer is I just say that I help people with their immune system and hormonal system. They're my two, because I think they're both sort of very key problems around, and people often relate to that. But once I've said that, I just stop. I don't develop it. And then I'll ask them a question about themselves, turn it back on them. And it's amazing the number of times 5 minutes later they'll bring up subject about somebody's immune system in their family or whatever. So things just happen for me like that. But the next step I want to take to now, that Naomi's going to do after me, is what do you do then? What is the key when you make a contact, and what is going to be your next step? And this is where I developed a special plan. I learnt from a Platinum Presidential in America many years ago in my early days about three-way calls. And I thought that was a marvellous idea, going back to this idea of people not listening to me but listening to somebody else. So I started teaching my team, when they met someone who was interested in either business or products, that they would organise a call with me. So they would talk about me as someone who's had a lot of experience. I've helped a lot of people. I've been with the company a certain number of years, whatever. Edify me and then hook up with me on the phone. So this is what my whole team basically do. Not everybody, but a large group of my team do. So the key features of a three-way caller is that you don't ever mention the word three-way call. That's the first thing. Because that people don't know what a three-way call is. No one knows such a thing exists, that you can have three people on a phone call. You can have 4 or 5, actually. You can do a chain event. But people don't understand that, so it's always better not to use terminologies that people don't understand. So what people in my organisation do is just say that if they meet somebody who's got a health challenge or looking to earn some extra money, whatever it may be, look, I'd really like to connect you up with the lady who's helped me. She's been with this company a long time. She's knows much more than I do, and I think it'd be really beneficial. So basically they edify me and organise an appointment. So it's always very official. It's not just random. So they get a few times from that person that suit them. They then contact me with the times, and I have my organisation know which days I work. These days it's good. I only work 3 days a week. So it's organised in those time frames, and we organise the call. And there's a very strict procedure for this that's important. And what happens is when they ring up, they always ring the new prospect first and then me. Because I'm the important one, right? I'm the one who knows everything. So it's just part of the posture, I guess. So they ring them first, then ring me, and then they introduce us formally on the phone and edify me again. Now, they've already raved on about me before the call was organised. And this could be you, this is happening to. Any of you can do this between each other, because you always know more. You don't have to know as much as I know now. I didn't always know as much as I know now. It was a process. So the edifying on the call is really important, because it just reminds them, it sets me up for them to believe me, and it lifts my energy. You've heard everyone who's been introduced today has been edified, haven't they? And that's to make you receptive to listening to them, but it also lifts the energy of the speaker. You know, I'm sure Dr. Nugent felt fantastic by the time he got up here today. So edification is so very important in our business. So that's what happens. Now, this person coming on the call knows they're going to hear about something that's going to cost money. So they're a little bit tentative usually, and they're expecting me to talk. They're possibly expecting me to try and sell them something. Who knows what they're thinking? But that's not what I do. What I do is basically have a small chat first. Oh, where do you live, Sally, you know? And how do you know Naomi, or whatever it may be. Just have a bit of a chat, bit of a joke if possible. And then I say, so why are we, you know, what are we talking today? You know, is something going on with you that I can help you with? You know, what I ask them, and off they go. And sometimes they'll talk for half an hour. Sometimes they won't, it depends on the person, but if they sort of slow down, I prompt them and ask them a few questions. They may be telling me all about their health and all the dramas that have happened, and I just listen. I don't interrupt. And a very important point I missed, the person who's organised the call has been strictly instructed to not open their mouth. And there's a reason for that, and the reason for that is that they're talking to a complete stranger in another state. They can be in another country. And I need them to be just them and me to build rapport and build trust. So if a third person says something, it just changes the energy. I think some of you are nodding can understand that. So they have to be quiet, never say anything. So I'm just listening to this person. And, you know, it was Rick Moffat, who was my Upline Gold Presidential in the States, who taught me a profound lesson that I never forgot, how he'd been taken by his enroller as the third-party expert to somebody's home, to a lady's home who was very ill. And it was a face-to-face. And this can be done that way too. So they went into the house, and this lady was sort of, a bit confronted, two men. And it was a lady, and she sat on the couch, right up the end of the couch, sort of leaning back a bit. And Rick was very aware of the body language, so he sat right at the other end, as far away as he could, so she didn't feel threatened. And he said, "So what's going on with you?" to the lady. Didn't start talking and giving his presentation. He said, and she said, and she talked, he said, for 45 minutes without stopping about what was going on with her. And he didn't say anything. He didn't interrupt. She just talked non-stop. And you know what happened then? She said, "So what do I need?" He hadn't said anything. But what had happened was, because he listened, she just totally trusted him. And, how often do we interrupt people? I loved it. Who said? Christy. I cheered when you said that, Christy, wherever you are. When what to say, you said when you talk. You don't talk, you listen. And it's so much more powerful. So when I'm on the three-way call, I'm asking them. If they run out of things, I ask for more. I might say, "So how's your sleep? Do you sleep okay? Do your nails grow fast?" Anything, just to keep them talking, just to find out a bit more. Is your hair falling out? No, I don't say that. Does your hair grow well? I might say, though. Just any sort of questions I will ask. And then I'm getting an idea about where they're at. I'm getting an idea how they eat. I'm getting an idea, do they know much about nutrition? They might talk about they always buy organic and they do this and do that, so I'm not going to give a big spiel on that. I suss out where they're at. And the more I listen to them, same as the story I just told you, the more they're going to trust me. So once they've eventually finished, then I can decide what I'm going to explain. About their immune system, about their hormones, about the plus, about the omega. I talk about the products. And I try to keep it focused on, the issues that they've brought up. I don't try and tell them about all the products we have, I play it very much by ear, and that's a developed skill that anyone can develop in time if you're really tuned into them. And then I explain how do you start. And I just want to brag a bit here, but seriously, 90% minimum, I would say probably 95% of all my three-way calls give me their credit card details on that phone call and sign up then. Really. But it's not because it's about the skill of listening and them trusting me. That's really the secret, and anyone can do that. I think the hardest part is not to talk too much. And, I had to learn to do that because I did talk too much in the beginning. I've forgotten what's next, so just bear with me a bit. Make sure I don't forget anything. My eyesight's getting better. Okay, so the way I do it at the end when they say yes, they're going to get the products. So then I have to explain the cost. And then I explain that you can join. So once they've decided what we're getting and I've got their credit card details, everything, then I say, so you have a choice. You can join Mannatech as a customer. You can become a customer of the company or an associate of the company. And I said that they both these, whichever you choose, you buy at wholesale price. I like to use the word wholesale. I think people relate to that word. I always try and keep my words at relatable things that are common to people. So you can, both those at wholesale price. The only difference with an associate is they have an annual fee of $49.95, and that enables you to earn some income. When you have great results, you'll refer other people, and that helps you earn some income. So I just explained both things right from the beginning, and that has worked really well, and people make their choice, and then we go ahead and do it. So then the next step, because we've got contact and invite, then we've got the presentation, which, as I said, I've done as a three-way call. So then you've got the follow-up. And this was something I developed because I became presidential director in 2 years and 4 months on absolute passion. And I was presidential for a year, and then I wasn't anymore. I went backwards, which was a really devastating time in my life, but that's not what I'm talking about tonight. But eventually, after a year of feeling sorry for myself and being a total victim, I decided I was going to get back to presidential. So I also decided, and someone else has said this today, if you're going to change things, you've got to do something different. So I thought, well, what can I do differently? So that was when I decided that I'd just do the three-way calls, but then I would continue with the three-way calls of how to start on the products, because they are very powerful products that have powerful effects. I get heaps of people that have tried all sorts of supplements, and one question I always ask when people say they've taken other supplements, I said, and well, did they make a difference? And the answer is always no, because we wouldn't be on this call if they did. So the ongoing process of people getting started on the products is critical. So that's when I decided my new plan to get back to presidential was to continue the three-way call, getting people started. So this is what we do. And so they've signed up, their products are being ordered, and then we say, so when your products arrive, I want you to text Naomi and say they've arrived. Please don't take anything until we talk again. Naomi will get in touch with me, and if possible, we'll get on a call straight away and I'll tell you how to get started. And if it's not possible, I will have trained Naomi to at least get them started on a couple of things till we can get a call on. So that's what we do. So this process then is I start people gradually. You know, this has become a very important thing with Ambrito's Life, as Dr. Nugent talked about today. People who've been on the products, including me, for a long time can have another healing process. Am I allowed to say that? Okay. And different things have happened. And, you know, if people don't understand what's going to happen, they can think they're allergic, because how allergic is everybody these days? You know, allergies are just par for the course. So if people have a reaction with our products in any way, they'll assume they're allergic to them. So this is one of the critical reasons I believe we have to help them get started. I have to help them get started. Must talk about me, not we. I have to help them get started so that they don't have anything that's unexpected. Anyway, and one of the key things to do with that is on that first day, I explain what may happen. On this first follow-up call, I explain they may get a bit of a headache because their immune, and I explain why. Their immune system's going to improve because their cellular communication's improving, and it'll start to clean out some rubbish in your body, so you might get a headache. So I said, it's not mandatory to get a headache. I said, if you get a headache, it's a good sign because you're cleaning up. If you don't get a headache, it's a good sign because you're not too toxic. So they're happy either way. But the great news is if they do get a headache, they're excited. You know, that's a really good, the beginning of belief. And this is a key factor because when they ordered on that phone call, they didn't order because they believed in the product. They believed in me and my confidence and Naomi's confidence. They believed in that, really. My explanation might have sounded really convincing, but they're not sure yet that the products are actually as good as we've said. So that's the process you're starting, is to develop that belief and that confidence. So telling them they're going to have a headache is a really good start. Hormonal. I have developed my own terminology on hormonal wobbles. That's another thing, not a scientific term, so I'm sure you can use that. And that, I mean, I tell people sometimes, I had a lady ring me up once and say, I can't stop crying and nothing's wrong. You know, and people can just fluctuate as their hormones are improving. So lots of things can happen. You know, sometimes if people have skin irritations, it may get a bit worse if they, oops, I'm not allowed to talk about those things. Anyway, you get the idea. So this is what happens on that first call. You explain how to start. I start people slowly, not too slowly, just a little bit, not on everything they get. If they get 4 or 5 products, I wouldn't get them to take everything. I would just start them gradually. And then we book another call for probably a week. I used to do it about 3 days, but I don't have time now. So it's usually a week later. And on that call, we find out what they have noticed. Has this happened? Has anything happened? Have you noticed anything? And we usually then increase the products a bit by then another week. And I may do this for 3 to 6 weeks to 6 months. Has been known to be longer. But what's happening in this process is Naomi's getting trained to do it herself because she's learned all this, and we're doing it with different people. So they're hearing all sorts of different situations and different personalities. And the person is getting to trust us more and more and more. And I think I should just about be finishing. So one of the advantages of this is that the more trust they have in us, the more confidence, because we're pointing out the results. I really encourage people to journal themselves, if they will, to start a journal, because I say you'll forget the things that have happened. The changes are incremental and they don't notice it. So this is one of the major advantages of these follow-up calls is, have you noticed anything? No. Haven't noticed. Oh, you're not sleeping any better? Oh, yes, I am a bit. Yes. What about your fingernails? Oh, they're growing so fast. You know, it can just be little tiny things, but you can start pointing things out that increase their belief and their trust in me and their trust in Naomi. So it goes on. So they're developing confidence, and I encourage them to take notes, because I said what's going to happen is later on people are going to ask you, well, what did you notice? How long did it take? And you'll forget. And it's really good to go back. But the main reason I want them to take notes is so that they can go back, because they forget. Get 6 months down the track, oh, I don't, you know, like what did Christy say? She got better, so she stopped. You know, and people do that. They get better and they stop. So if you can point out what's happened and remind them of those things, it's very powerful. So can you see this is all business strategy? You know, it's about products, yes, but it's developing long-term customers. And how good would it be if you had customers, every customer or associate stayed on the products for life? And so I've got customers, seriously, multiple, customers that most of them now, this is my personal ones, not for other people, that I ring once a month. Some of them email me, but mostly I ring once a month, I'm happy to do, that are spending $800, $1,500, $2,000 a month. Now, I know everyone can't afford that, but a lot of that didn't start like that. Some of them weren't spending that much, but it's been over time, changes in their circumstances, more belief in the product, more prioritising their health, you know, and it's just gone up. And that's made my business very secure and very profitable to have people spending that amount of money. And you may wonder, is this duplicatable, doing what I do? Well, it is. You know, often people think just because I was a nurse or whatever, you know, I can do this, but it isn't. I've worked at developing these skills all through, and as I said, my associate's trained to do the same thing. And she does not expect me to do this, but Anne Everingham, stand up, Anne, and wave. Stand up, I said. I'll be bossy. You know, Anne and her husband violently opposed the business and me talking anything about it at the beginning. Anthony doesn't mind me saying that. He rang me a few times. Don't encourage Anne to build a business. I said, I'm not. She just keeps referring people, and we do 3 ways and so on and so on. But, you know, Anne's been top gold executive in Australasia 3 years, and she does exactly what I do. She talks to people, she does 3-way calls, she does the ongoing calls. So, and others in my team do too. So it is a duplicatable system, and Anne's not an ex-nurse. So that's not part of it, is it, Anne? I think that's the end of my bit. There's probably things I've missed, but I'm looking at the time, Naomi, so sorry.
Thank you. There's a man who was the author of the book called Swim with Sharks Without Being Eaten Alive, Harvey Mackay. And he said that at the age of 18, his father sat him down and said to him, for every day, every time you meet someone, find a way to creatively stay in touch with them. And I think about that for us. It's so important that we find a way to creatively stay in touch, because it's one thing to get, you know, contacts and things like that, but to creatively stay in touch. And one of the things that we do in our industry, it's about educating people and bringing them to an understanding about what we do. So some of the ways that, you know, you can invite and present, and Karen's done a great, you know, talking about 3 ways or whatever. What do you say to people?
Oh, just a conversation.
Oh, a conversation. That's a great thing, yeah.
Just by phone or Zoom or Skype.
Yeah, great. So there's lots of things that you can do. These are just some of the things that I use a lot. So we invite people into a Facebook group. Now, if you've got an upline that's got a Facebook group, work with them. But it's a great way to bring people in and to bring that education and understanding. Coffee meetings, you know, I'm often going to coffee. People think that's, you know, I'm all over the place doing coffee meetings, either with our team, bringing people along, or, you know, my own prospects. Home meetings. I had a time down in Sydney and, you know, we had a home meeting there. Sampling. Sampling is actually something that we've just started to do a lot and really liking it. It's getting, you know, some great results with sampling, and we've got a great product tomorrow that you'll be able to do a lot of that with. But we do have other products that sample really, really well. Events, we talked about that. Audios, so sending them some sort of audio. You know, we've got lots of audios in Manatech, and videos, great videos that the corporate team put together for us. And one of the other things that we do a lot is webinars, and so inviting people onto webinars to hear more about that. The great way to start, and this is something that I've always done, is using your own testimony. So write these things down. So your background, the things you didn't like about your background, how the company came to the rescue, and your results or how you feel about the future. Maybe better to take a photo. That would be really quick and easy then. But I want to challenge everybody to go back to your room tonight. If you haven't already done this, write this down, because the better you are at your own testimony, it's really powerful. And Karen was telling me how her people, her team actually start the conversation. Well, they start with the testimony and then they say, let me get on a phone call with the lady that helped me. So knowing how to tell your testimony is really powerful. So tomorrow, with your testimony, you've got to find two people that you've never spoken to and share your testimony. So you get confident with it. So when you do meet new people, you're confident in sharing your testimony. These are some examples that, we do, and I wanted to give you a couple of practical things that I've done on Facebook. So the first one is, it's a funny quote, or you can use a funny picture. Do any of my friends want to be added to a great Facebook group I've joined on fat loss and increasing energy? So that post, that was a new lady who only just got started, I think about a week and a half ago. Through that post, she has three new customers, because she added them into the group. We got on three-way calls and she brought on 3 customers. So it does work. This post here, this was actually a post in the middle that I did I was offering a free sample. So I think something like 30 samples I had to send out or give to local people, but that was such a great one, about sharing about the product that I was using. And then the other thing is about educating. So remember what I was talking about educating and building that understanding, bringing value. So that was another one that I did. That was actually a live video that worked really well. And look, I'm not great at long scripts. Who's really good at remembering scripts and stuff? I'm just not great at remembering scripts, but I love this one. I find this one, it always works. I always remember it. So when you're talking to people, when you're asking them the question, I might have something that would help you with that. If I, would you? If I sent you an audio, would you be able to listen to it? So simple, isn't it? If I added you to a group on Facebook, would that be okay? Yeah, no problem. There's very little resistance to that. And so that's definitely my favourite script. It's the one that I always go to. It works and it gets results. And then this is really important part of what we do is the follow-up. And when I saw this, I just thought, wow, it's when you see the statistics of, what happens when you're not following up, because 48% of people never follow up. 25% make the second contact and stop. Only 12% make 3 contacts and stop. So only 12% go to that level. But if you have a look, 5% of sales are made on the 3rd contact. So only 5% of sales are made then. Only 2% is made on the 1st contact. So it's that follow-up, and everybody, I'm pretty sure everybody knows this, the fortune is in the... And remember that, guys, 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. So the 5th to 12th time they've either heard the testimony or seen some information. So remember that for your own business. How many times are you following up with people? How many times are you bringing that education and understanding to what you do. So remember, like, write this down, put it up in your office or wherever you need to remind you that the follow-up is so powerful. And then there's the being a hunter versus a farmer. And, you know the hunters. I get messages on Facebook, join my opportunity, you'll make $1 million, here's my link to join. I'm like, really? And you can see it, if you're a hunter, you want people to join immediately and you're out there and you're striking. Whereas a farmer, it's about, like, I don't know how to farm, but it's about preparing the soil, it's about planting the seeds, it's about nurturing those seeds and taking care of them. So when we're out there, we're farmers, we're nurturing, we're caring for people, we're educating, we're bringing understanding about what we do. And then finally, getting started. Now I'm going to talk about the business side. So I enrolled 5 new associates last month. So, that's a lot of work. Thank you. Yeah, that can be a lot of work. And so used to be quite complicated, and I really found the more that I can simplify things, the better, because they were becoming too complicated. So definitely keep it simple. They don't need to know all the science. They don't need to know everything. Keep it really simple. Start off with 3-way practice calls. So with them, start your 3-way practice calls. Aiming for about 3 in the first week, so just the practice calls, and they work really, really well. Like I said, that lady that got started, she's enrolled 3 people. She's about to enrol her 4th person. And then this is something that the 4 things that are going to hold people back are fear, limiting beliefs, the low self-esteem, and their stories and excuses. So I feel as an upline, it's my responsibility to kind of help them through those, particularly at first. So helping them through working through those things, because they will definitely be the things that hold them back from going forward. Belief, and Al spoke about this today, belief in network marketing. So I'm sending things from Robert Kiyosaki to build their belief, because straight away they're going to get, oh, you didn't join one of those pyramid things. That's what they'll come up with. So it's building the belief in the industry, building the belief in our company. So continually, I'm always, did you listen to that audio? Great, I'll send you the next one. And so I'm constantly sending things on, building that belief in the products. So again, getting them to hear lots of testimonies, sending them testimonies, getting them on webinars to hear more testimonies, belief in our team, and then I didn't put it there, but it's also about belief in themselves. For Facebook, I have example Facebook posts like that one that lady shared, just to start getting a little wins, because most people don't know what to put on Facebook. So, I have a couple of example Facebook posts that they can use to get started with quickly. Launch parties. This is something that we do a lot. So a launch party, make it fun. It can be about the products, about the business, sampling. Make it something that's really enjoyable. And this is something that I've really found has worked, particularly we've been trialling this year on one product or one range. Because if there's so many products for them to learn, it's really, they get overwhelmed. So by narrowing that down to maybe one product and one range, seems to be working really, really well. We're getting so much better results from doing it that way, keeping it simple. Obviously, they want to then know more about the other products, but, we've got so many products that you can choose from, for your team. But try that. Try just that one product or that one range to get started with, and then, build their confidence and go from there.
Thanks, Naomi. I got some good ideas there. Thank you. Thank you. So we're out of time, but just hang on for 2 minutes. I just want to finish off by telling you the thing that keeps me going is remaining grateful and thankful. And when I have my trials and my challenges, I just lie in bed sometimes and say I'm grateful for my pillow and then my bed, and then I just keep going and it lifts me up. So I just wanted to say tonight, and I know I speak for Naomi as well, I'm just so grateful and thankful for Manatech because it's literally changed my life in every possible way. I was a single mother with 4 children, 3 jobs, earning $30,000 a year and $12,000 in superannuation and renting. So, that at 51. So it wasn't such a great future, I didn't think. I'd travelled when I was young and thought I never would again. And now I have been able to move to the country, got out of Brisbane, thankfully. I own my own home. I have a beautiful garden. I have cleaning ladies. I have gardener. Sometimes they change. And I travel. I've been on so many trips with Manatech, which I'm so grateful for, and it's been so wonderful because being single, it's not so much fun to go on holidays on your own, so I don't. I take my Manatech family, we go places together, we all had dinner together last night, it's just, they're my best friends and I just really, love every one of them, and I'm so grateful for my team, grateful for the products. My health has changed dramatically. I'm going on a European river cruise in May. Can't believe it. I have freedom. I have freedom and to do whatever I like, to work as many days as I like, to take as much product as I like, to help my children with the products if I like. I could just go on and on and on. So I'm just really grateful and thankful, and I just want to tell you that it's all worth it. I've had, just as many disappointments and rejections and things go wrong as all of you may have had, but, it's worth battling on, and, the life is there and the money is really there and the freedom is there, which is the best thing. So thank you all. Thank you.